Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and today we're going to try something different. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know I've been experimenting around with a lot of trees, particularly a lot of conifers, and I built these two trees for the last video of my tree sculptor series, and I wanted to try something. As a kid, we had a very large blue spruce tree in our backyard, and that tree's always kind of been meaningful to me. And I wanted to try and make a blue spruce. Now, I thought about just redesigning this with appropriate colors, and that proved a little harder than I thought it would be. So let me show you what we're going to do here. I got this in the mail today, and this is not from Lego. In fact, it isn't Lego at all. These are alt bricks. This stuff actually came from Webrick, and you're probably saying, why did I do that? I've never done this before, but I wanted to try this for a few reasons. Number one, I've never made a mock completely out of alt bricks, so I wanted to experiment with that, see how it comes out, see how it looks. Number two, several of these pieces, Lego doesn't even make. And if you are going to make an argument for using alt bricks, I think that's the best one, is using pieces that Lego does make in colors that Lego doesn't make. For example, in this design, I use a lot of these 6-branch pieces. And to me, sand green is the best color to do for a blue spruce. I think it's the closest to what a spruce tree looks like. And this piece is key to making this design. Now, Lego doesn't offer it. I usually, when I go alt bricks, not that I do it very often, I go with Go Bricks. Now, Go Bricks makes this piece, but they didn't have it available. So I actually got these from Webrick. They are very nice quality. They might even be Go Bricks. I typically buy my Go Bricks from Webrick. That's like the official distributor of Go Bricks, but these came from Webrick, and quality seems to be the same as what I've seen from Webrick, and like I said, they might even be Go Bricks. These guys kind of mix and match a lot, and they all kind of come out of the same areas from what I understand. So I've got all the basic pieces here to build these trees. I actually have enough to build 2 trees in entirely out of alt bricks. Now, most of this stuff you can get in Lego. These sand green 3-stem pieces are available in Lego, but they are kind of expensive, and I think I have a couple hundred of them here. I think each tree takes about 100, so I think I have 200 of them here. 6-branch pieces I needed less, but I got a lot of those as well. This is another one, a fantastic piece that Lego more recently came out with. Unfortunately, though, they're super limited on colors, and that's these 45-degree bend pieces. Lego doesn't make those in sand green, but alt bricks do. I also have these 2 tall round bricks, or 1 2/3 tall, I believe. Lego has made this in the past, but it is retired, and I usually use pin connectors in Lego. I think this is a better option, so I got some of those as well. You'll notice for this tree, my color scheme is going to be very different. The branches are all going to be sand green, and the trunk is actually going to be dark gray. If you look at a lot of real trees you see out there, the trunks more often than not are more gray than brown. Now with Lego, colors can be skewed to portray a certain item. For example, green and brown just screams tree. But in real life, colors are often a lot more varied than that. So it depends what style of building you're doing. Some people like to try to keep it super realistic, and then I try to match the colors as best as possible. And some people want to get the idea of a tree by using traditional colors that people would recognize as a tree, maybe in more of a cartoony fashion. So to each their own, couple different ways you can do it. I'm going to show how we would build one of these with these alt bricks, and we'll take a look at how the overall build comes out. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to build this thing. We'll start with a base here. I'm using these cylinders for the trunk as opposed to pin connectors. You can't get these in Lego. They're retired, and they just don't make them. But these, I think, are better. They connect. They don't need pins. And they're seamless, no grooves or anything. I can use 2 of them. You can also do 1 if you want it shorter, or more if you want it taller, but I'm just going to do 2 here. For the first layer of our tree, we're going to take branch pieces. I've got 5 3-stem pieces like this, and we're going to stick them together. On my first initial thought here, these go together kind of stiff compared to genuine Lego parts, but after thinking about it, that's actually kind of better because these won't really twist. One of the problems with this design, they don't fit super tight and they twist. Now for some applications, that's probably better to have them looser fitting. For trees, I think this is actually better because it's not going to move on you. We're going to take a 6-stem piece, and that goes in the end. This tree, unfortunately, is going to be all one color, actually 2 colors, dark gray for the trunk and sand green for all the branches, where these have a lot more color to them. We'll see how it comes out. This is an experiment, so it may look good, it may not. We'll see. Once we've built this, we're going to build 4 more. We're going to take a Travis brick and just surround it with them. Now, just like these fitting tight into each other, they also fit nice and tight into the Travis brick. That's one thing with these trees. These do pull out kind of easily. This actually takes a little bit of effort to remove. So I think that's actually a nice thing because it's going to hold together better. So 4 of those are on a Travis brick. We're going to stick that on top of our trunk. And that's the first layer. Second layer, very simple. It's exactly the same. 5 3-stem pieces, 1 6-stem, 4 of them all the way around. And then we're just going to stagger it so that they offset just like that. The third layer is also very easy. Travis brick, branch pieces. The only difference here, we're going to have 4 3-stems and a 6-stem as opposed to 5. So it's just going to start to get a little bit narrower all the way around. Stagger it again, just like that. And then we can move on to our next layer. Next layer is also quite simple. We're going to build the same thing, but we're going to have 3 3-stems. So we're just eliminating 1 each time as we move up, and then a 6-stem on the end. Now this is pretty much the same design as I did for these, minus some of the details like at the bottom here. It's going to be the same thing. So if you want to see me build these trees, I do have another video, but it's basically the same thing. I will list the parts down below in the description. Like I said though, some of this stuff you can't get in actual Lego or it's quite expensive. So the next step, we're going to take 2 1x1 plates, and we're going to put those in here. And this is just to give a little bit more height, because the next layer is going to be the first layer that hangs down. The way we're going to build that, start with a Travis brick. We're going to need 4 of these 45-degree pieces going all the way around it. And they're going to go in the down position. Now you can put the branches right in this, and in the Webrick version here, that might actually work well because it's a little tighter fit. In the Lego version, I added a 1x1 round on here because it gave it a better fit and held the branches tighter. So I'm going to do that here. I haven't really tested it the other way. You may not need to do this step, but it also spaces the branches out a little more, brings them a little bit lower, which fills the tree out a little better, I think. So 1 of those all the way around. And the branches here, we're only going to use 3-stem pieces. So 2 of them for the first layer, and they're going to point down. Now these layers can be a little more difficult to put on the tree because they can interfere with what's already on the tree. So you have to be a little careful and kind of maneuver it into place. And you know, some of the branches, if they're hitting a lot, you just give them a little twist, and they'll usually fall into place pretty good here. If it's real difficult, you can take this layer off and stick those in after you put this layer on, and that can make it easier. I'll do that at the top because it makes it a lot easier up near the top. And that's just going to fill in those gaps there. The next layer, we're going to go straight out from the center again, but we're going to use 2 3-stem pieces, 1 6-stem all the way around. Now this is very important. On this layer, we're not going to stagger it. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it directly on top of this angled layer. Because the next layer is going to hang down, and it'll come all the way down into here and fill these gaps. So it's going to look a little weird until I put that next layer on. The next layer is another hanging down layer. So we're going to build the center all the same. I've got those angled pieces and those 1x1 round plates with open stud. This time we're going to do 3 3-stem pieces. So the first layer is only 2. This actually has more because it needs to fill in more of the tree. The other one, if you do too many, it's going to start to hit these lower branches. So we only did 2. And no 6 stems on these. If you do 6 stems, it's going to get real wide and it's going to be hard to fit in here. So only 3 stem pieces and 3 of them on there. And this will go right in here. And again, you just kind of have to wiggle it down in there, keeping it from touching everything too much, and eventually it will fall in place. It can take a little bit of fiddling with to get it right where you want it. And that fills in all those gaps real nicely. The next layer, we're going to take one 3-stem, one 6-stem, all the way around a Travis brick. And just like before, we're going to go directly over the hanging down layer. So we're not going to stagger this one, right on top of it. And then we have 2 layers left and then the top. Now our top portion, we're going to have to flip over these Travis bricks. We're going to take 2 Travis bricks, stagger them. We're going to take a 4-long bar and put it down the center. You want it to stick out just a little bit at the bottom. That's what's going to connect it to the lower Travis brick. But you need to leave enough at the top because that's what's going to hold the top of the tree on. Then we're going to take one 1x1 round with open stud. We're going to put that on here as well, just to fill in that open top there. And this lower layer is going to get these angled down pieces. Now on this one, we're not going to do the round piece with the open stud because it's going to make the branches come out too far. The tree has to get narrower toward the top, and we want to keep it kind of as tight to the center as we can. Now for this layer, we're going to have 2 3-stem pieces hanging down. And we're going to do that all the way around. No 6-stem here. It'll make the branches too hard to fit in with the lower layer. Now this one is tricky to put on, so I would recommend actually taking one step backwards and removing these and putting them on after. So these are going to be staggered. This is going to sit over the top of this lower layer, and then these are going to come down in the middle. But this way you should be able to pretty easily plug these in without interfering too much. Just getting that upper layer on after you put these on is quite tricky. So I actually went a little bit out of order. And there you go. Now it's looking nice and full up there. For that last Travis brick, real simple. We're going to take 4 6-branch pieces, no 3-branch. And just all the way around. I know I keep saying branch and stem. I mean the same thing by those. Stem is probably the better word. And then for the very top, 3 stem pieces. I got 4 of them stacked together, upside down, right on the top. And there is our blue spruce. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know below. This was a total experiment, so if you think this looks a little bit too monotonous, like one color, I wish I had a little more variation in color, but I can't really think of a good color to mix in there. I could try some dark green, but it might not work. Blue spruces kind of have this dusty look to them. They can be a little bluer tinted, they can be a little greener tinted, but they're usually not as vibrant as like pines and things like that. And then that gray trunk I really do like. And the gray trunk would also work on this, just depending on what your style is like there with that. So this parts order I bought, was able to make 2 of these. So I have 2 of these blue spruces. And just so you know, for cost, that was part of the reason for this experiment. And buying the parts for this, I had a little bit left over. I didn't want to come up short, so I bought a few extras, but not a lot. This whole lot was about $24 before shipping. So it's about $12 a tree, which you might be saying, yeah, that's expensive. These are very parts heavy. There's a lot of pieces in these trees, which means they're expensive. Now, I wish I could give you a Lego comparison. Unfortunately, though, they don't make some of this stuff in Lego, which you could say, well, just pick another color. If you know anything about Lego, though, the stuff varies so much based on scarcity that when you're buying on like Brick Owl, Bricklink, the same part can be 5 times as much if it's in a rare color or more. So it's really hard to say how much this would cost in Lego. My estimation is if Lego made all these pieces, you'd probably be somewhere around $20 to $25 a tree. But I could be completely off on that. Anyway, let me know below in the comments what you think. Let me know if you think I should include these in my city. That would be a big leap for me. I don't really put alt brick stuff in my city, but maybe it's time to start. You know, when you find something that Lego doesn't have, but they are all regular Lego pieces, just in different colors, you know, it kind of straddles the line of what should be allowed and what shouldn't. And again, these are just toys. Do them however you want to do them. That's all that really matters. As long as you're having fun and you're being creative and you're like what you're doing, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Well, I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to do more just like this in the future. That's all I have for this time, and we will see you next time.